I interview him.
I had a co-worker who in passing one day told me that he used to work for Elvis Presley, and he had some pictures that I might be interested in. Well, one day he showed up at work and he had pictures of Elvis Presley getting in a helicopter that, for all intents and purposes, looked like a government helicopter, and there were men surrounding Elvis also getting into the helicopter who looked like what we often see depicted as government agents with the blazers and the wire in their ear and whatnot. And it was an interesting picture, although that picture in itself was not particularly suspicious because it's common knowledge Elvis was involved as an honorary police officer with many police agencies all over the country. The interesting thing, the curious thing about the picture was this individual claimed this picture was taken several hours after Elvis allegedly died at Graceland Mansion. So I looked at the pictures with a natural curiosity and began to work with the idea of writing a novel. While I was researching this novel, I had a running conversation with the guy that showed the pictures to me for probably 6 or 8 months that we worked together. He quit the department and was gone for several months, and I didn't think much about him. He had the pictures in his possession, and I didn't have the pictures, and there was no actual way for me to verify the validity of the date of the pictures, but at the time I was only writing a fiction novel and I didn't need to. So it wasn't important in my mind to verify the date. But later, as I gained more and more information, I decided it might be important to see if I can find some factual way of verifying the date those pictures were taken, because I might really be on to the modern mystery of our decade. So I tried to recontact this individual, and when I found him, he denied ever showing me the pictures. He denied any past affiliation with Elvis Presley. And I told him at the time, I said, wait a minute, I'm not crazy. I remember our conversations, and I remember them very well, and I need to meet with you and talk to you about this. Are you willing to do that? He agreed. He gave me an address and a phone number where he might be contacted, and we agreed upon a date and a time for an appointment. The address he gave me was a vacant house, and the phone number provided was a disconnected number. And I have never been able to find him since. I have no idea where he is at or the pictures. But I know that this event occurred, and I've been an investigator for 10 of the last 18 years that I've been a policeman. And I know that my powers of perception and reason are working very well, and that I didn't imagine what happened to me.
Gail Giorgio was interested in Elvis's activity in law enforcement.
He always had a love of law enforcement. He had he was a bonded deputy with the Memphis Police. He was connected with, what was it, the Denver Police in Colorado.
Denver Police, yes.
He was connected
California.
with the LAPD. So his interest in law and order went back many, many years, and in fact, when he was voted the most outstanding young man in America by the JCs, it was for his work also in drug enforcement. So he was sincere in wanting a federal badge, and he wrote Nixon a letter on the airplane, American Airlines, and offered his services as an agent at large. He said basically because of who he was, he could probably get to people that other people could not get to.
Hey, Elvis was really into this, he wanted to be a cop. He wanted to be a federal agent, so this is the letter that he wrote to President Nixon at the time. Let me try to read it off the monitor. Dear President Nixon, I'd like to introduce myself as Elvis Presley. I've got a great respect for you, and I talked to Vice President in the Palm Springs lately, and me and him had a big conversation, and he said that it'd be a good idea if me, Elvis, would be one of your federal agents, undercover narcotics agent, working for the DEA, who knows what. But anyways, Elvis became pretty good friends with Nixon, President Nixon at the time, and President Nixon gave him this medal that made him basically a federal agent. This Elvis was a DEA agent. He could do whatever he wanted. He could bust any of these drug lords or whatever he had to do at the time, but he was an official federal agent. Him and Nixon became buddies. I guess he worked with President Carter. We're going to hear about that more into this documentary. But hey, I hope you're liking this documentary. It's about Elvis. It's about Elvis. He's still alive. He's in the witness protection program because he got caught up in the DEA, Drug Enforcement Agency, as an undercover narcotics agent. It's all here on this documentary. Check it out. We got proof, or we're going to show you proof in the next half hour to come, or whatever this show is going to be. But yes, Elvis was a federal agent, and you're going to hear more about this later on in the program.
I checked